Hey everyone, Griff Hamlin here. Welcome to this video. We're going to do something a little bit off the beaten path, seeing as it's normally Blues Guitar Unleashed, and we're going to veer a little bit into the country side today. I have this beautiful, one-of-a-kind Telecaster. You'll notice it has this little BGU Live 2012 logo. This was actually a Tele that was made specifically for the Blues Guitar Unleashed live event that happened back in 2012, and through a amazing turn of events, it's actually back in my hands. So I can't just let it sit. I gotta make some videos with it. So I'm gonna make one today. Now, being that I got a Tele in my hands, I'm feeling a little country and not so much rock and roll. So we're gonna do something kind of fun here. Whole idea behind this video and behind what we're doing today is I'm trying to give you some tools to just play. The whole the whole thing about playing guitar is that we want to play. We want to make some music. We want to be able to make your own jam track, if you will, or play over somebody who's going to sing. But have these ideas for what we call comping. Comping is you could say maybe it's a shorthand for accompaniment. But there are piano players, for example, that make an entire career out of accompanying a singer or accompanying various other instrumentalists. And we on the guitar, we tend to neglect the idea of being able to just play some chords in a certain feel. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a little bit of a kind of a country feel. And I just chose a little simple 8-bar blues pattern where I'm going to base it around G6, C7, and D7. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, you'll notice that I don't have a pick. Look, Ma, no pick. We're going to do this all with the fingers. The thumb is going to play bass notes. We're going to have bass on 1 and 3. Now, that's the country way of doing things. And in a lot of music, we have what's called the backbeat, where on beat 1 is like the kick drum, if you're the drummer, and 1 and 3, and 2 and 4 are the snare. What you're going to notice is that a bass, particularly in country music, will also accent on 1 and 3 and not on 2 and 4. Okay, we're going to kind of do both. You're going to play bass notes on 1 and 3, and you're going to do kind of this slap move on 2 and 4. So the first thing let me do, I'm going to turn off. I have a little bit of slapback delay there for the full country sound. We'll get back to that. I'll tell you a little about it, but let's just start with just basics first. I'm playing a G6 chord. Now normally I would play a G6 chord with my third finger on the G at the 5th fret of the 4th string. My middle finger would go on the B at the 4th fret of the 3rd string. My pinky would play the 5th fret E on the 2nd string. And I would put my first finger up on the G, 3rd fret of the top string. And that would be my chord. Now, if I was playing with a band, that's what I would use. I don't need any low notes. However, I'm not playing with a band. So I'm going to take my first finger and go ahead and get it down across all of this, not really all of the strings. I'm just going to play the low G. Now that means that the high G on the first string is just going to clunk out. That's totally okay. I'm not going to use it, so I don't care if it doesn't sound. And that's a good approach, by the way. If you're one of those people that has trouble with bars, the top note won't come out, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. A lot of times you don't even need that note anyway. Okay, so on my right hand thumb is going to play that low G bass note. And a lot of times what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of my palm to kind of mute it out. So what I'm doing is, notice that I'm right back by the bridge. Okay, notice that my palm, it's like half on the bridge, half on the string. And you'll have to play with this. If you get it too far onto the bridge, it doesn't really do any muting. On the other hand, if you get too much on the string, you don't really get any note. There's a sweet spot in there, which for me is about half and half. But it depends on your hand and how it's made. So I'm going to go play a bass note with my thumb. I'm going to use my index, middle, and ring fingers. I'm going to place them on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. And they're going to pluck the chord. So that's going to be my harmony, my chord, whereas that's going to be my bass and also part of my rhythm. So I'm going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, and I slap on beat 2. So it's bass, chord slap. So it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I'm going to do it twice in one measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now that's 2 measures, so I'm gonna go to my C7 chord. And I'm just playing, regular old grip C7. I could do that C7 if you prefer. You could move it all the way up and do a C6, might even be more of a country sound. I'm going a little bit more blues with the 7. You could just take the G6 and move it straight up. But I just kind of, I don't know, I just like the 7 sound. I'm a blues guy, what can I say, right? So I'm going to do the same thing, except now my bass note is on the 5th string, but my other 3 fingers are still on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and. Then I'm just going to slide up to D7 and do the same thing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and back to the G. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. I'm going to strike it all. And then this is a full-on like Patsy Cline turnaround. It's a blues half step, but it's in. I heard some friend of mine doing Walking After Midnight the other day. So it's that half step that they do in that song. Just E flat down to D. It's that same 7th chord grip. So that's really all it is. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And that's it. It's fairly, once you get the pattern going, it moves the pattern through everything, so you don't have to relearn a bunch of stuff. Now there's a couple of little things, depending on how, if this is like pretty easy for you and you want to spice it up a little bit, the easiest way to spice it up is to alternate the bass note between beats 1 and beat 3. So for example, on my G, I would alternate between the low G, and then I actually have to move my 3rd finger because I need a D. So you have to be careful if you're going to do that, because you're going to go 1 and 2, and when I grab the 3, I can't pluck all 3 strings because I moved a finger. So I've got the D bass note now on the 5th fret of the 5th string, but that abandoned the 4th string, so I can't pluck it. If I do, nothing's going to happen. So I guess that's okay. As long as you keep your 1st finger in place, it'll just go clunk and nobody will be any the wiser, so you probably don't have to change anything. But it would go something like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and. Okay? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. For the C, the bass note is right below. 1 and 2, and just jump down with your 3rd finger to the 6th string. Same with the D, because it's the same shape. Now you heard me grabbing with my right hand a little bit more often. That time I also added in kind of a little upbeat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1. So I end up hitting the top couple of notes really on every single and of the whole progression. And you can even go like, you can get really, really crazy with this stuff. I mean, monster country pickers will have all kinds of bass moving around and all kinds of cool stuff going on. But if you can do that, if you can just play little bass going in there. You know, you and a buddy can play all day on this. You know, whatever. You can use major pentatonic licks work great over this stuff. G major pentatonic, play it all day long, sounds great. In fact, I have another video with some cool major pentatonic stuff in it, so maybe I'll see if I can find that one and link to it somewhere near this video. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you had some fun with it, and get your country on today, and I will see you in the next video.